Hello again and welcome to Money Matters. In the third quarter, unemployment in Hong Kong was at 6.4%, the highest since 2005. As the pandemic speeds the uptake of technology, more people are looking to upskill to keep themselves relevant. Online learning platforms are seeing a boom, and some Hong Kong startups are thriving. How big has your company grown since you started 3 years ago?
We were growing from the first customers to having more than 10,000 customers over the 3 years, and the students' demographic was from Hong Kong all the way to Tokyo and London now.
Tommy Low founded an online-offline teaching platform for adults and kids wanting to learn how to code. He says he started his company because he felt the traditional classroom was too restrictive. He believes matching teachers to students' needs will help them learn and retain lessons better. By knowing a student's preferences, plus the application of AI, students can get better results.
Actually, we get the data automatically throughout the course, and we measure the effectiveness of every lesson with the knowledge point. How did such a teacher able to deliver such a knowledge point well?
Since the pandemic struck, Tommy says they've seen double-digit growth of 10 to 20% each month. They offer a mix of online and in-person one-on-one classes. Initially, his school had 30% adult students and 70% school kids. It's now 40-60. He says most of the adults taking their courses were C-suite executives. But since the pandemic hit, he's seen a change in the demographic.
Since pandemic, we start to have more middle-level management people, but then a lot of them are still from finance and marketing and retail industry.
One student is Stephen Chung. He started his advertising agency 10 years ago, and when COVID hit, he thought adding the ability to write software code to a skill set would be useful.
We need to do advertisement for different brands on social media and stuff like that. And with data science and I learned about how to do data scraping and stuff like that, and it gives us more thought starters to think about how we can do advertising for brands, and we can create more data-driven type of campaigns as well.
They also get a lot of overseas university students taking the coding course on top of their degree.
When they graduate, they really need that computer science programming certificates or know-how to impress the new employers. To them, it's okay, you pay maybe a couple thousands more so that you're getting a minor degree in computer science.
Tamoka is getting her degree in early childhood and special education in New York. But while she's back in Hong Kong, taking her university courses online, she's decided to take a coding course with Tommy's school.
When I went on LinkedIn, I was just seeing under the skills, I saw everyone had coding or Python. I was like, I didn't know they were into, they knew Python. I was like, okay, maybe it's a skill that I should have for when I'm applying to work in the future.
She says she prefers to have face-to-face classes with her teacher rather than an online one.
If you feel comfortable with your teacher, then you feel like you can learn more, and you're not afraid to ask questions in class too.
Many of Tommy's teachers have regular jobs and teach on the side. Since the pandemic, there is more demand for teachers, and many of his students are now joining his teaching pool.
We're having quite a lot of pilots and flight attendants joining us, and the legal sector as well, because the courts has been closed.
Vanessa is a former flight attendant who realized she needed to find a new job when people at the airline were being asked to take unpaid leave.
When the pandemic started, we fly less and less. And for me, my salary is based on my flying hours, so it affects a lot. From the time I left my company till the time before I get this job, I wasn't paid. So I decided to, okay, why not I just try something new? And this company is hiring, why not?
Even before the pandemic, Research and Markets forecast the online education market at $350 billion by 2025. Universities have been making courses available online for years, and now some of them are working with startups to support their syllabus and keep them up to date. Catherine Cole's online platform for the fashion and apparel industry was recently launched at LIM, a fashion school in New York City. She says it's a platform that marries specialist expertise, which is declining, together with new technology.
Start at the back by aligning the center.
So it's online classes, and then it's also a community of experts. And it's really courses built by the industry, taught by the industry for the industry. So these are practitioners who've got deep industry experience that are now sharing their knowledge.
Launched almost 2 years ago, 70% of their clients are corporations wanting to upskill their people as new technologies become more widely used and create efficiencies in the industry.
And probably the biggest talk is around using 3D in the design product development department. You have your 2D fashion designs and converting those into a digital environment so that we can minimize the time spent on sampling, the approval process around fit. The 3D really speeds that up and brings in efficiency into the whole supply chain.
The World Economic Forum is targeting to upskill 1 billion workers over the next 10 years, following a survey which shows 74% of CEOs cited a lack of skills as a major concern for the future of their companies.
I think that companies have already figured out for their high performers that learning is the new loyalty. So you don't want to be stuck in a job in a company where they don't want you to reskill.
Diana David is a consultant for companies wanting to future-proof their employees.
But reskilling has been because of technology. The things that somebody in digital marketing knew last year are no longer relevant this year. So we all have to perpetually think about how we can adjust and upskill to maintain our relevance in the next future markets.
Catherine believes education will become an ongoing process.
It used to be you could graduate from university and you'd have a degree that lasts you 40 years in your career. So the difference now is you have these micro blocks of skills that you can add on to, and these professional certificates that eventually, who knows, maybe this is, 5-10 years, these may add up to the equivalent of a degree.
In her policy speech, the CE said a plan to build vast artificial islands, estimated to cost $624 billion, was expected to move further along in the coming year. Carrie Lam says up to 400,000 housing units across 1,700 hectares of reclaimed land between Lantau and Hong Kong Island would alleviate medium to long-term housing needs. Lam also said the government will relax investment limits for real estate investment trusts and remove the double stamp duty for commercial property transactions. The government had no plan to remove stamp duty on residential property. China's Alibaba says orders on its e-commerce platform during the Singles Day shopping extravaganza had exceeded $56 billion. Lockdown-weary consumers splashed out on as many as 16 million discounted goods. It was a bright spot in an otherwise gloomy month for Jack Ma's online giant. Beijing unveiled new antitrust rules to curb the dominance of internet firms like Alibaba and Tencent. The new framework is designed to prevent monopolistic practices such as collusion and alliances that squeeze out smaller rivals. The entire mainland online ecosystem is being re-rated after the moves by Beijing, such as the cancellation of the Ant Group IPO, to bring the sector's rocket-like rise down to earth. European Union regulators are in the same frame of mind. They've filed antitrust charges against Amazon. It is accusing the e-commerce retailer of using data from companies that sell products on its platform to gain an unfair advantage over them. The charges represent the latest effort by European regulators to curb the power of big technology companies. The investigation found Amazon has been analyzing data from other vendors that sell goods on its platform to help it decide on new products of its own to launch and how to price them. The EU Commissioner in charge of competition issues says that appears to distort genuine competition. Amazon rejected the accusations. European Central Bank head Christine Lagarde has warned the economy could face a bumpy stop-start recovery despite good news about vaccine development. The top central banker for the 19 EU countries that use the euro currency says there was a risk that fearful consumers could drag down the rebound. She says governments and central banks will need policies to bridge the gap until vaccination is widespread. She also said the recovery may not be linear, but rather unsteady. The rose-colored glasses seem to have slipped off the eyes of American interest rate setters. The U.S. Federal Reserve has for the first time included climate change as one of the risks to the financial system. Chair Jerome Powell has until now been rather timid on the issue, but recently Fed minutes had indicated a couple of participants had suggested the issue be included as a risk to be considered in the regulation of the country's banks. A Biden White House could make it easier for agencies like the Fed to address climate risk directly.
Coming up on Money Matters, why do Hong Kongers still have a taste for property even as COVID continues to sink the economy and unemployment soars? Find out after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. The residential property market appears to be resilient despite the pandemic and economic uncertainties. Demand remains strong, and mortgage restrictions haven't kept buyers on the sidelines. So what is going on? Alice Kahn finds out.
Kevin Chan has been on a bargain hunt since May.
If I miss this chance after the COVID-19, the price going up, and I don't think I can get another chance to get into the market.
The 32-year-old fears he's missed the chance. The discounts brought on by last year's social unrest are quickly disappearing. He has a wife and daughter. He runs his own business designing digital games. And his wife is a teacher. Between them, they earn around $80,000 a month. They've been working for 10 years to save enough for a down payment. They've managed to save $2 million. He and his family are now living with his parents and a brother in this 1,800 square foot village house in Tuen Mun. The family pays about $30,000 in rent. Kevin chips in $11,000.
I want my own home because I have a daughter, she is 1 year old, and also I have my second daughter. We only have one bedroom, so I think we need to have our own house and having maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms.
Kevin was thinking of buying in this new Sha Tin project when the developer offered its first batch of flats at around $18,000 per square foot, similar to the price level of the secondary market in this area. But he couldn't get a hold of a flat. The project was 60 times oversubscribed. Over 2,000 buyers put deposits on 337 units. The oversubscription was the highest since 1997. New World Development raised its prices to as high as $31,000 per square foot. Some of the flats cost as high as $12.5 million now. Still, buyers weren't scared away. New World Development has already sold 1,800 out of the total 3,090 flats at this project.
One reason, there's no land supply in the near futures. They know that without supply, but they cannot satisfy the inelastic demand.
Sha Tin is kind of neutral to the place. I don't think it is worth.
Kevin is still looking. His dream home would be in the mid-levels. Then his daughters could enter a good local school in the area. He found this new project. The unit sizes range from 181 square feet to 311, and the prices are lower than the ones in areas farther out from the center of town.
The price for the 181 square feet is only 4.8 million, and the 311 square feet maybe 11 million. So for the high level, the price is very low, about 4.8 million. We can access to the mid-level.
Back when mere mortals could buy a flat in the area, prices were as low as $3,800 per square foot. The price reaction from the dot-com bubble burst and SARS sent prices lower. But they bounced back until an average flat was selling for a pre-pandemic $33,000 per square foot. The pandemic correction has been between 5 to 8%, depending on the age of the building. Kevin also checked out a two-bedroom, 600-square-foot apartment. The asking price was $11 million, just below $20,000 per square foot, and slightly below the market price. The agent says the homeowner wants to cash out. If they want the cash quickly, a seller will lower their asking price by as much as 10%.
Some sellers, they don't have confidence in the future in Hong Kong, or the whole world in economic, or their business not running good during the COVID-19, or they're losing job. Obviously, they might want to sell their unit to cash out.
Jackie worked out the mortgage payment with Kevin. A flat valued at more or above $10 million must have a 50% down payment. For this unit, Kevin needs to pay $5.9 million. The monthly mortgage payment will be $23,000. Kevin has $2 million savings. He needs another $3.9 million to pay the down payment.
My family financial support, so the down payment could be settled. Our household income have about 80,000, and we can pay that mortgage.
Although some of the purchasers may not be so affected in this overall pandemic or economy situation, now people start talking about whether the banks will further reduce their staff. I think the ratio of unemployment will go up about a double-digit one. So all these things will kick in.
If I lose my job, I can actually rent this place out to get another income. I still can live with my parents.
Joseph Jiang expects flat prices to come down 10% in the next year. Developer Tony Wan says flat prices in remote areas could drop as much as 10%, while prime areas will rise 5 to 10%. The whole market is not likely to fully recover until the border crossings are all reopened.
Hong Kong is an open economy. We do trading amid the mainland China as well as the foreign country, and we provide service and earn money. If all the business with other countries, including mainland China, stopped, how can we make money? That eventually will affect the property market.
But Tony also says the market will not face a deep plunge in prices because there's a large pool of liquidity in Hong Kong.
According to the monetary authority figures, the total bank saving right now up to September 2020 is around 14.7 trillion Hong Kong dollars. Compared with, say, 2018, the total saving is just 13 trillion. It represents approximately 14% increment. Since 1997, I think people are much more sort of careful in doing investment. They would rather put the money in fixed assets, just like property.
Analyst Philip Zhe says the low interest rates on offer will also provide support for demand.
Each year, there will be only like 12 to 15,000 units for private sector every year. But normally, we are talking about every year we need like almost 18,000 units for the private sector. New family formation, immigrants from mainland China, all of these add up together, we're forming quite a massive demand for each year.
Tony suggests the government relax the mortgage restrictions.
The government can further review to further relax the LTV for property up to 15 million or even 20 million to make more people can buy their units, especially for those they want to change their home to larger units.
Government could relax the double stamp duty currently in place, but Chief Executive Carrie Lam ruled that out for the residential market in her policy speech.
All right, this is gonna look sick.
It does not pay to be careless with your smartphone in Hamburg, Germany. Lucky for extreme freerunner Jason Paul, and boy with a fear of depths, his dropped into the lap of a passing canal barge passenger. The chase is, as they say, auf. These pesky old buildings don't have elevators. Stairs? That's so 20th century. Where did that barge go? Ah, there she blows. No, that's not it. That's not it either. Finally. Did he pay his fare? Remember, don't try any of this at home. You'll be nicked for pickpocketing. British social entrepreneur Rachel Grace Pinniger opened a small handicraft shop in downtown Chengdu, a place so spicy it'll set you on fire. The 75-year-old helps those in dire need with serious disabilities and those in need of money to become more self-sufficient. Her shop, the Blue Sheep, opened in 2013 to showcase a wide range of handmade items. Even the local pandas come here for some retail therapy, if needed. They do it in the cupboards to avoid the embarrassment. Items such as belts, wallets, scarves, and other kinds of locally designed and produced handmade crafts can be found in the store. Pinniger provided medical training in Nepal, Bhutan, Nigeria, and other countries before settling down in China. The pandemic sent her back to the UK, where I wouldn't touch you with a barge pole is now national policy. She keeps in touch via the internet, where the shop has turned to sell to netizens. The shop was inspired by the craftsmen in remote areas in Tibet, Qinghai, and Yunnan, who had no market for their ethnic products. She was in the city to provide help after the earthquake in 2008. She decided the craft shop was her best option. A stationery store was out of the question. The world traveler has no plans for her next destination. She's just going to wing it.
That's our show for tonight. Thanks for watching. Next time on Money Matters, it's 3 weeks before Christmas, and all through the economy, people are quietly making the most of the festive season. Turns out there's still some good cheer to be had. See you then. Good night.